So, what if I told you that most of what you do every single day is, well, pretty much a waste of time? It's a provocative idea for sure, but it's the core concept behind one of the most powerful life hacks out there, the 80/20 rule.
Oh, you know the feeling, right? Your to-do list is just endless. You're constantly busy. But when you get to the end of the day or the week, you look back and think, what did I actually accomplish? It feels like you haven't made any real progress on the stuff that truly matters. It's this super frustrating cycle, and you are definitely not alone in feeling that way. We're all kind of taught to believe that there's this direct one-to-one relationship between what we put in and what we get out. You know, you put in 10 hours of work, you get 10 hours of results. More effort should always equal more success. It just feels logical, doesn't it?
But if that were really true, why do so many of us feel like we're just spinning our wheels? This brings us to what we can call the productivity paradox. So let's just pause on this for a second. The idea that most of our effort, all those things that fill our calendars and keep us busy, might not actually be contributing much to our biggest wins? Well, that's a pretty wild thought. It basically challenges everything we think we know about being productive. But here's the good news. There's a principle that totally explains this imbalance, and more importantly, gives us a way out. This is the 80/20 revelation. This whole thing actually goes way back to 1897. There was an Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto, and he noticed something kind of peculiar. About 80% of the land in Italy was owned by just 20% of the people. And then he started seeing this 80/20 split everywhere he looked. And just like that, the Pareto principle, or as we call it, the 80/20 rule, was born. The author Richard Koch just nails it with this quote. It's this fundamental idea that the world is not balanced. A very small number of things have a huge, outsized impact, while most things really don't matter that much. So the big takeaway here isn't just that some of your effort is more effective, it's that most of your effort is probably irrelevant to your biggest successes. I mean, just look at that. That tiny little sliver of effort is responsible for the lion's share of the results. This isn't a 50-50 thing. It's not even close. It's radically lopsided, and really wrapping your head around that is the absolute key. Okay, this is all a really fascinating theory, right? But let's see how it plays out in the real world, because this is where it gets incredibly powerful. Let's just think about any business for a second. You might think every customer is valuable. And, in a way, they are. But if you look at it through an 80/20 lens, their value to the business is wildly, wildly different. This table just breaks it down so clearly. Your top 20% of customers are driving a massive 80% of your sales. These are your rock stars, your biggest fans. Meanwhile, the vast majority of your customers, the other 80%, only bring in about 20% of sales. I mean, the imbalance is just staggering. So, if we take that one step further, what does that actually mean for where you put your energy and your effort? We are not talking about a small difference here. The return you get from focusing on that top group, it's absolutely astronomical compared to the rest. 16 times. Let me say that again. 16 times. The return you get from putting effort into a top-tier customer is 16 times greater than putting that same effort into a bottom-tier one. And that's not 16%, that's a 16x multiplier. Here's why. The 20% of your effort on those top customers gets you 80% of the reward. That's a 4-to-1 return. But the other 80% of your effort only gets you 20% of the reward. That's a tiny 0.25-to-1 return. The difference is just massive. And hey, this isn't just a business thing. This pattern shows up everywhere once you start looking for it. A few of your products are your absolute bestsellers. A small chunk of your week is when you do your most brilliant work. A handful of suppliers probably cause most of your headaches. It's just everywhere. So this is the big question, isn't it? How do you take this incredible principle and actually apply it to your own work, your own life? How do you figure out what your vital few activities really are? Here's a great, simple place to start. Just take a minute and think about your day or your week. On one side, make a list of all the stuff that just keeps you busy. The endless emails, the meetings that go nowhere, the little admin tasks. Then on the other side, list the things that actually get results, the stuff that moves the needle. I promise you, when you see it written down, the difference can be shocking. Now, if you want to get a bit more systematic about it, here's a simple 4-step guide. First, just list out everything you do. Second, go through that list and sort each task by how much effort it takes versus the impact it has. Step 3 is the fun part. Identify your stars. These are your high-impact, low-effort activities. That's your 20%. And finally, step 4, you've got to identify the dogs, the high effort, low impact tasks, and then be ruthless about reducing or just plain eliminating them. Now, let's be really clear about something. This is not an excuse to be lazy or do nothing. The whole point of the 80-20 rule is to be radically effective. It's about freeing up your time and your energy from all the trivial stuff so you can pour it into the few things that truly matter. It's all about strategic focus. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one question to really chew on. Think about your job, your relationships, your health, your personal goals. What is the 80% of effort in your life that's only producing 20% of your happiness and your results? Because identifying that, well, that's the first step to changing absolutely everything.